Let's cross over to Oslo, Norway, where the Nobel Peace Prize is set to be announced a day after a Gaza deal likely reached too late for U.S. President Donald Trump to have any chance to win the award he desperately wants.
Years working for the freedom of the Venezuelan people. Ahead of the election of 2024, Ms. Machado was the opposition's presidential candidate, but the regime blocked her candidacy. She then backed the representative of a different party, Edmundo González Urrutia, in the election. Hundreds of thousands of volunteers mobilized across political divides. They were trained as election observers to ensure a transparent and fair election. Despite the risk of harassment, arrest, and torture, citizens across the country held watch over the polling stations. They made sure the final tallies were documented before the regime could destroy ballots and lie about the outcome. The efforts of the collective opposition, both before and during the election, were innovative and brave, peaceful and democratic. The opposition received international support when its leaders publicized the vote counts that had been collected from the country's election districts, showing that the opposition had won by a clear margin. But the regime refused to accept the election result and clung to power. Democracy is a precondition for lasting peace. However, we live in a world where democracy is in retreat, where more and more authoritarian regimes are challenging norms and resorting to violence. The Venezuelan regime's rigid hold on power and its repression of its population are not unique in the world. We see the same trends globally. Rule of law abused by those in control, free media silenced, critics imprisoned, and societies pushed towards authoritarian rule and militarization. In 2024, more elections were held than ever before, but fewer and fewer are free and fair. In its long history, the Norwegian Nobel Committee has honored brave women and men who have stood up to repression, who have carried the hope of freedom in prison cells, on the streets, and in public squares, and who have shown by their actions that peaceful resistance can change the world. In the past year, Ms. Machado has been forced to live in hiding. Despite serious threats against her life, she has remained in the country, a choice that has inspired millions. When authoritarians seize power, it is crucial to recognize courageous defenders of freedom who rise and resist. Democracy depends on people who refuse to stay silent, who dare to step forward despite grave risk, and who remind us that freedom must never be taken for granted, but must always be defended, with words, with courage, and with determination. Maria Corina Machado meets all the three criteria stated in Alfred Nobel's will for the selection of a peace prize. She has brought her country's opposition together. She has never wavered in resisting the militarization of Venezuelan society. She has been steadfast in her support for a peaceful transition to democracy. Maria Corina Machado has shown that the tools of democracy are also the tools of peace. She embodies the hope of a different future, one where the fundamental rights of citizens are protected and their voices are heard. In this future, people will finally be free to live in peace. Thank you. Questions?
Mr. Chair, the attention this year has been a bit further north. How are you as a committee going to make sure that the topic of this year's Peace Prize, democratic development in Venezuela, is highlighted in the days and weeks to come?
First and foremost, we hope to get your help, because the media obviously plays an important role in highlighting the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela, but first and foremost the immense and impressive work of the opposition in that country, so that they will still have hope to fight for a future of freedom for their country.
Nobel Peace Prize announcements this morning. Congratulations to Maria Corina Machado, who has just been announced as the 2025 recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, one of the prizes established by the will of Swedish industrialist, inventor, and armament manufacturer Alfred Nobel, along with the prizes in chemistry, physics, physiology, or medicine, and literature. The Peace Prize is set to be one of the most prestigious prizes in the world. And of course, we had talked about how President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, had wanted to be a recipient of this award in 2025. However, having spoken about the justification for announcing Ms. Machado as the recipient of this year's Nobel Peace Prize, a number of people have talked about how she's worthy of the prize. I'm looking at what was set out in the will of Alfred Nobel with regards to who should emerge as the winner.
It is set out as it is set out. I'm not sure there's anywhere in Alfred Nobel's will where he said people that campaign vigorously for the Peace Prize should be given. Machado was a woman that keeps fighting the authority with her NGO Sumati, and I think she's well deserving. In a country like Venezuela that has run with a lot of tyranny, hate, fear, she has stood tall as regards accountability for elections and other things she has done. This is not the first prize she's going to win. She's won the Sakharov Prize, she's won the Václav Havel Prize, and other great prizes out there to show our indomitable spirit. And while we congratulate her, we should also forget Michael, our own Nigerian, Vitalis, that was on that flotilla that went around Israel. He's been kidnapped. We've not heard from him yet. Let's keep the word on as regards Michael. Michael must be returned home. He was part of the flotilla that was on the way to the Palestinians.
Very well said.
And he was kidnapped.
All right, thank you. Well, that announcement was made from Oslo City Hall, which has traditionally been the host for the announcement of the Nobel Peace Prize since 1990.